Hey everyone, in today's video we're going to take a look at this Bogen Challenger CHB50. A great number of you just saw the video on the Marantz 2226 that I quite easily brought back to life. This one came from the same basement, same owner, same story. It was found in my buddy Tyler's grandmother's basement. It used to belong to his grandfather. He has since passed. And here it is all these years later, anxiously waiting to be the subject of an CHB50 video. Fun fact about me, I know close to nothing about tube gear. I have worked on 2 pieces of tube gear. I really have absolutely no idea if it's going to work or not, so we're going to have to get this thing on a variac, bring it up slowly since I think it's been well over maybe 30 years since this thing has been used, and we'll see what happens. I don't really know what to expect here. But, of course, before we do any of that, we gotta take a look at this thing. So, as you can see, the Bogen Challenger, model number CHB50. I don't even know how this thing works exactly. It's integrated amp as far as I can tell, since we've got bass and treble controls. It's these 3 knobs right here I'm kind of unsure about, because you can turn them, and they turn, yeah, but there's no switch. There's no switching at all in these, it's just turning. The only switch I can find on this thing is the power switch. So that's pretty interesting. You can see it's in kind of dirty condition, not very clean. We'll probably have to work to clean that up a little bit. And let's go around to the back here. Well, here's the sides. The case is in, seen better days. Now back here is where it gets interesting. I think we can get this guy off right here. Looks like it's oh, maybe it just opens up like a car hood. Yeah, okay. So we've got aux power, 150 watts, and here's what all this does. We've got the speaker sockets. So you'd hook up the correct impedance of speaker to the correct terminal there. And right here we've got amplifier power rating, 50 watts. Aux 1, 2, and mag, and mic 1 and mic 2. For some reason I had it in my head that this would be a stereo amplifier, but I think it's a mono, because I'm looking in here and I only see 2 transformers, which means that one's for power, one's for the output, and I also only see 1 set of large tubes, and they're right there, and they look a little smoky on the sides, so it's not looking promising. I think that's a bad sign. I'm not exactly sure. I say we get the cover off of this thing, or looks like this might slide out of the cover, and we get some power on it and see what the heck happens. This should be interesting. We've got the first very interesting thing. We've got corn inside the amp. This corn definitely does not have the juice. I think a critter put that in there, if I had to guess, because looks like there's other things from critters as well. I'm gonna have to wash my hands later. That's for dang sure. Well, maybe I'll just take this to the power washer and call it good. Here we are. This is our amp. This was kind of hanging out here. Boy, oh boy. This thing is very simple. Okay, let's take a look underneath and see what we've got. So some of you may be very taken aback, per se, by the appearance of this stuff down here. And this was actually very normal back in the day. I actually watched Mr. Carlson's lab on tube stuff recently to get geared up for this, and he called this point-to-point wiring. This is what they did before printed circuit boards, so you can really see when you look at this, like, how great are printed circuit boards. They're absolutely amazing, because they took the place of this, because what was going on in the factories is you're hand soldering every single one of those. So there are a few things I know about tube gear. One of them is that tube gear works at very high voltages. So you may have noticed earlier some of those capacitors that I was showing have a voltage rating of 400 volts. That's something you're not going to see in more modern solid state stuff, and by modern I mean 1970s Marantz. Solid state stuff operates at a much lower voltage. This stuff operates at a very high voltage, so that's one of the comments I get in my videos every once in a rare while. Is I'll get an older person comment and they'll say, "Man, I know the tube stuff, but I was never really comfortable touching the solid state stuff, so kudos to you. I'm kind of scared to touch the solid state stuff." And I'm like, how in the heck are you scared to touch solid state stuff when you're in here playing around with over 200 volts? Like, that's the kind of stuff that'll not do you too well. So, high voltage is one of them. Two, I know that you're supposed to bring this stuff up with what you call a variac. Now, this is my grandfather's variac that he built. It's pretty nice because I'll show you. When we plug this in, so we'll set it to 0 for now. Let's turn this thing on. What this thing does is it'll show you your line voltage. So my house is getting 123 volts right now, not too bad. But then you can switch to your load. So let's let this settle down for a minute. Let's bring this up to 10%. So there it is. We can have 13 volts, bring it up to 30. We've got 43 volts, 50. But here's the cool thing about a variac. If you put it to 100, you can actually increase the voltage of your wall voltage. So like, if you were to put a fan on this thing, like a house fan, you could actually get it to spin a little bit faster if you crank this up all the way, because it's kind of like running it at 140 volts instead of 120. But I'm not exactly going to recommend that because your fan's motor might not be happy about it. Anyways, so I know exactly what voltage I'm putting onto my load, which goes in the back right here. So what's going to happen is we're going to plug the tube amp into the back of this thing, and we're going to bring it up slowly. That's the second thing I know about tube amps, is you want to bring this stuff up slowly after it's been sitting for a long time. I suppose we may as well go about that right now. I should have checked this first. This is why nothing's happening. It's because the fuse is blown. So let's get ourselves a 2 amp fuse and try bringing this up again. Okay, 2 amp fuse. This is turned off. So now we actually have a fuse in. Let's try this again. Set it to 0. Let's bring this up to 35 volts. Now let's see if there's anything going on inside of here. Okay, so right there we have 141 volts DC at something. So that means something is happening here. So we've got power inside. So things are charging, things are happening. Something is making that happen. So let's go back to how we were before. So now what I'm doing is I'm just gonna touching these guys and feeling if they're warm. Okay, so I feel some warmth out of this tube at 60 volts. Let's go higher yet. So at this point, I see this one lit up just a little bit. It's kind of warm. This one's warmer, and I do not see it lit up, so I think that's interesting. Let's go higher yet. I'm just going to take it to the full 115 here. We're at operating voltage now, and nothing bad has happened. I don't know if I should be happy or terrified. Okay, so something fun I'm noticing. In case you haven't figured out, I don't know how this thing works, but I do know that when I measure to ground and I check these two pins back here, 284 volts DC at two of these, and that's kind of scary. Not gonna lie, it is a little scary, gotta say. So I'm not going to plug my speaker into that one because I don't think it'll end well. Well folks, I'm going to go out on a limb and say this thing is not working properly. One big giveaway is that this tube is lit up. I don't know if you can see that, but it is lit up. But this one is not. I can't get any sound out of it. Okay, I did that thing I always do where I'm like, alright, that's it. I'll come back to it later. And then I turn off the camera and I just start messing with it off camera. And so, first thing you might notice is there's a different tube here now. They were clearing crap out at work. I saw a box of tubes and I was like, are those going in the dumpster? They were like, yep. I said, no, they're not. Yeah, this is the one that wasn't lighting up. And I made the mistake of pulling it by the glass and this happened. So, no longer a vacuum tube, but that's okay because I think it was bad anyways. I put that in, so now we've got AC hum coming to the speaker, which is more than we had before. And then I was playing with these guys and trying to figure out what the heck's going on, playing with the different inputs with the RCAs here. And let's see. There. I must be going right to the power amp because nothing on this thing is doing anything right now. So yeah, I think I will leave it here for today. So, I've seen a few YouTubers do that move recently where you pull out the editing software and I kind of like it. I've got some things to show you with this thing. I got it to work. In case you couldn't tell, I was very tired when I started recording this video. And now is the weekend, so I can be a little more awake, but I just want to explain what the heck was going on. So, earlier you saw this thing making sound, but these things weren't doing anything at all. So, we've got the Variac set to, 100 whatever. Let's turn this thing on, because it is working now, and I'll show you what's going on. So, we've got a speaker connected back here to the 8 ohm output. That little jumper wire thing, that's just going to this little connector right here for something, I don't know what. So when you heard sound out of this thing, what was going on is I had the phone outputting into this WMT plug right here. So if I do this, plug that in, and I hit everyone's favorite song, we might hear it. There. So, just bad connection. There it is. But that must be a direct tap into the power amp because none of this stuff does anything when I'm playing with that. Well, at least it didn't before. But that popping sound you heard wasn't happening before, and that's because the preamp was not working. I took these 3 tubes out a second time and put them back in, and now we've got a working preamplifier. So, let's turn down the master volume. So briefly, I just want to remind you of these controls. I said I don't know what these guys do earlier. These 3 are basically just level mixers. Like, you can turn the mic up or down, you can turn input 2 up or down, and then this, you can kind of fade between aux 1 and 2, with the middle being silent in my experience, which I thought was kind of weird. So, then you got master, bass, and treble. So basically, you want to set that aux 1-2 slider to aux 1 or 2, because it's a mono amplifier. So let's go to aux 1, just for funsies. And now, if we turn this up, we probably don't have it on aux 1. There. So I just switched it to aux 1, and now we have volume control. It actually sounds okay-ish until you start overdriving it. So it distorts very, very easily. And I don't know why that is right now, but one theory I have is these 606s are far from matched. Like I mentioned, I broke the one and I put this other one in because it was just laying around, and now it's making sound. But okay, so you can see the tube amp, it's wanting a 606 GC. This is a GB. I do not know what that means, but it's probably less than ideal. But yeah, there it is. Let's do this again. We'll play the lights tune. We can turn this up. Okay, so that is red plating right there. That is a red plate. So, yeah, I think that's why things stopped working right there. I'm glad I got that on camera. I'm very glad I got that on camera, because that is interesting. And you may have heard there was some nice AC hum associated with that. So did that tube just get fried? I don't know. But yeah, we lost sound there, and then we got big scary bad things. What are the plans for this? I don't know. I need to talk to the owner and see what they want to do. But with stuff like this, and we're turned off now, so we can go under here. Take a look at this stuff. These capacitors are so dang old. They're from the 60s, and they're made of materials some are made of like paper and oil and just other weird stuff. Like look at that one, 1,000 volts. And they're all very small capacitance values too, which is another interesting thing about capacitors in here. They have high voltages, small capacitance, whereas like in solid state stuff you'll find higher capacitance and lower voltage. So in my view, the only way to go about this thing is a full restoration. And given that this is a mono PA amplifier and they're not really worth that much money, I don't know if it's going to be worth it per se. But if that's something that you guys want to see, and that's something the owner wants to see, you'll have to let me know. It looks like there's really not that many capacitors in here, and there might be a few opportunities to upgrade, diodes and stuff. So, let me know what you want to see in the comments, because this could be cool, and it could be a complete waste of time also. So, we'll see. So that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, let me know what you want to see with this, and see you in the next one.